You've heard it said that communication is at the essence of great relationships, but it's not true. There's something even deeper. Communication is important, but there's something deeper and infinitely more important. And by the way, I'm not just talking about lover to lover relationships or friend to friend. It can be boss to subordinate, parent to child, or vice versa. And it's this: what undergirds great communication is trust. What undergirds great relationships is trust. And I don't mean trust that you won't cheat on me, trust that you won't share my secrets. Yes, those are important, obviously. But there's also trust that you won't judge me when I express who I really am, and even deeper. And really, part of all three of those things that I've said already is trust that you're a vessel large enough to contain my problems and who I really am. And I don't mean contain me as in box me in. I mean contain my problems, contain me as in hold me. I get so many people coming to me with extraordinary problems in life, needing counseling, and they're convinced that their problems are the worst in the world. And I'm not saying their problems aren't, but it was conferred, or it was confirmed to them by the last therapist, the last two therapists, or when they went to their pastor, when they go to their friends. And when they've gone to this person, the person says, whoa, I can't handle that. That's a bit much. Or when they go to their friends instantly change the subject, or defer, or deflect, or dodge. That's a vessel not large enough to contain your problems. And the question becomes, well, how do you increase the size of your vessel for those who are wanting to? The reason your vessel can't hold their problems, and the reason it's so small, is because it's so full of your own problems, that one more drop, 2 more ounces of someone else's crud or pain in their life makes everything spill over in your life. It agitates everything. It triggers all the shit in your own life. Thus, if you want to become a bigger vessel, able to hold other people's problems and be truly empathetic and be with someone in the middle of their shit, in their hardest times, whether it's at a funeral or at the loss of a marriage or whatever it might be, or for your own child, be truly present to that lover. You have to get your own crud out of your love cup from your past. And that expands your ability to understand and be present and be compassionate. So 3 quick tips for better communication. If that trust is there, to expand that trust, to get someone perhaps to trust you a bit more and a bit more. 1, preface your questions, especially the hard questions where you know you're asking a hard question. Say to them simply, listen, I know this is fucking stupid. I know this is going to seem like a stupid fucking question, but it's an honest question. Just that. Or just say, listen, I know this is going to sound dumb, but I mean it sincerely. Okay? Preface your question with some sort of setup where you are fundamentally creating a sense of subordinacy to this other person, to their truth, where you're coming in as a learner, where you're coming in as a subordinate, not a superior, not a teacher, not a fixer. You're coming in and honoring their truth. Because the simple fact is, you can't know their truth. You can't know their truth. You're trying to get them to feel comfortable opening up their truth. And why would you want to do that? 1, to build greater connection. But also, it has a healing effect. That when I feel comfortable and when I actually express my truths, actually put them into words and put them out there, it has the effect of relieving my heart. It's like, hold on. It's like a rock has just been taken off of my heart when we express our deepest truths. All right? So the first thing is, I know it's going to sound fucking stupid, but it's an honest question. Second thing is simply this. Say the words, and you can say either of these, both of these. You can say them in different order, say them together, whatever you want. Help me understand. Help me understand. Okay? And not help me understand why the fuck. No. That's someone who's being a dick. If you're a dick and you're using these tools that I'm trying to give you to hurt other people or to get your own advantage, please fuck off and scroll up. Really, fuck off. This is for people who have the spirit of genuinely trying to improve the lives of others and improve their own relationships. So simply saying, help me understand, is a powerful tool because, again, you're coming in as a subordinate, that I'm trying to understand you. You're not coming in as I know you or I know what's best for you. You're coming in as I'm trying to understand you. You're coming up from under to support. Third thing, and this is one of the most powerful questions you'll ever learn in life, and for those uncomfortable situations where someone is in their pain. And it's particularly good at funerals. And as a former pastor, a guy who's done a lot of funerals in the past, still does funerals. Even I get uncomfortable sometimes at funerals, I'll be really honest. And I've done a lot of them. But one of the simplest questions you can ask, and it's not always right in the moment when you're in the receiving line, right after the casket has been wheeled out the door. The go-to for that is always, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. You know, he was a good person, she was a good person, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry is the classic go-to for funerals. But in other situations, maybe 6 months later, you're talking about it with this person, or you're having a conversation with a friend where you know they're going through a lot of pain. One of the most powerful questions you can ask that conveys you actually give a shit is simply asking, help me understand, what's the hardest part for you in all of this? Or, What's the hardest part? I know this may sound stupid. Help me understand. What's the hardest part? Or what's the scariest part? Or what's the most sort of anxiety producing thing, or the thing that stirs you up most in all of this? And they may say, well, there are 5 hard parts. And you say, oh my goodness, okay, I can see that, I can see that. Yep, thank you. You know, and not that quick and not that sort of cursory, but being with them in it. But then you can still push and say, but help me understand, what's the hardest part? That's a powerful question. Now you're going down with someone, down to the deep depths of their fucking soul, and it's you coming in as a learner. And then there's a 4th piece. So I know this may sound stupid, but it's an honest question. Help me understand, what's the hardest part? And then the 4th thing, all of these, by the way, give them the power. It gives them the power to say no. It gives them the power to say, I'm not quite ready. And if you honor that and back off and say, hey, I can totally understand that, they'll respect you even more. And they trust you a little bit more, so that next time they'll trust you even a little bit more, right? When you honor their truth, or they just can't open up right now. Which brings us to the 4th thing. After they have answered, let's assume they have answered, or even they've chosen not to, respond with simply this. That actually makes total sense. I can totally see that, and I'm so sorry. It's not the I'm so sorry. That's good in any situation, because it's honest, and it's you feeling their pain. But to say, that makes sense. I can understand. I can't understand your pain. I haven't lived it, but what you're saying makes sense, and I can understand that. I had a very dear friend. He's one of my best friends to this day, Jay. When I first moved out to Los Angeles, I needed a place to live. This was like 25 years ago, whatever. And I looked in the paper long before computers and phones and shit, or computer phones, whatever, and where you could Google shit like that. And a guy was renting out a 1-bedroom apartment, and I went and I rented his fucking living room, and he lived in the bedroom, and we were both writers and so forth. And I was working on one of my books at the time and so forth. Anyway, the thing about Jay was he wasn't the type of guy who was empathetic back then when we were still getting to know each other. He wasn't the type of guy who was empathetic, as in giving you a hug and I'm so sorry, and holding your hand and crying with you sort of guy. Nothing wrong with that, and I love those people in my life. That's a beautiful way to show empathy. His empathy came from logic. That I would say something to him about what was going on with me or whatever, and he wasn't logical as in stiff, as in, well, that you shouldn't do that. No, it was logical. His logic was he'd think about the situation, he'd think about the interpersonal communication that just happened or whatever happened, and he'd say, yeah, that actually makes sense. I can actually totally see why that hurt. Sven, I can totally see. It makes total sense why you're crying, why this really hurt. So he was coming at it from a position of logic. He wasn't the touchy-feely type of guy. I mean, now he is, and we're great friends. I adore him. He's one of my closest friends. But as we were getting to know each other more and more, and maybe just who he was back then, he could understand from logic, and I still felt touched. I still felt understood. I still felt that his vessel could hold me. And it was a beautiful thing, and that taught me something. So even if you can't always feel the person's pain, can you understand their pain? Can you understand their difficulty? Can you understand their fear? So these are some tips. So where do you need to expand in terms of your communication and in terms of your ability to become a bigger vessel? Have you fully cleared the crud out of your love cup? And if you need help with that, get my latest book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, at badasscounseling.com. Have a kick-ass.
You ever been in a relationship with someone who's always breaking up? Nothing will drive me to drink faster than someone who's always, every single fight, it's like, oh, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. Well, fine, we should be done then. Fine, I'm just done. Fuck, fine. And they're always fucking breaking up. Maybe you're that person. Yeesh. If you're the person who's always saying, no, I need to get out of here. Well, maybe we just don't belong together. If you're the one always defaulting to quitting, this is highly subversive to a fucking relationship. Why? Because what it's fundamentally indicating about you or about that person who is that way is that they can't handle even one more drop of criticism, even one more drop of emotion in their fucking love cup. This is a highly emotionally volatile person. And you want to know how I know about this? Because I used to be that person. And I used to be in relationships with people like that, where it's always like, oh, fuck, fuck, fuck. This is someone whose love cup is so full of crud and pain and fear and bullshit beliefs that they were taught about themselves from their past that they can't handle one more drop. That one more drop causes shit to spill out. Crud to spill out of their love cup. And it always spills, it doesn't spill on Tom, who's standing way over there on the other side of the room. It always spills out on the people that are closest to the cup of pain. That cup is supposed to be full of love, and it's not. It's full of pain and fears and bullshit beliefs they were taught about themselves. And until that shit comes out, it's just gonna keep spilling out. And they're gonna keep running. They're gonna keep running because they get so fucking heightened emotionally. They have so many memories inside of their love cup that are emotionally charged that every time one more drop of difficulty in a relationship or one more thing outside of them that they can't control, it causes so much anxiety. All of those memories that are charged, they become electrified. That's what it means to be triggered. Everything is firing all at once. All of the shit from the past, all of a sudden starts being electrically charged inside of them. They can't handle their own shit. You can't handle your own emotion. If you're that person, you can't handle it. Your past is running your fucking present. It is undermining. It is destroying. It is pulling at the fabric of your fucking relationships. And it's very manipulative. It's very helpful if you want to manipulate the other person. Why? Because as long as they're always afraid of you leaving, you've got them under the skin. It's like, no, don't leave, right? So you've got them under your fucking thumb. You can keep them where you want them, where you're always in control, where you're always keeping them down. And that way your shit isn't bubbling up inside. You're the fucking problem. Or your partner is the problem. If they can't keep their feet in it and address what's happening today, it's because of their past. And you don't want to get in a relationship with that person. Why? Because it's always going to be that way. And one of two things is going to have to happen. Either they are going to leave, or you're going to have to submit. And that's a choice. You're going to have to submit to them always being in control and you always tap dancing, not wanting to put even one drop in their cup. That's going to cause them to become electrified. All of their shit, right? Walking on eggshells. We've all been in relationships like that. And the truth is, if you're in a relationship like that in your adult life, or if you're dating people who are like that, it's because you're used to it. Because you've been doing it your whole life. It's familiar, right? When people say, oh, I fucking married my mom, or shit, I fucking married my old man. Yeah, you want to know why? Your spouse is so much like what your parent used to be like, or maybe still is like. It's because you made a choice. You made a transition that you weren't even aware you're making. You chose someone who was exactly like your parent. Why? Because it's familiar. You know how to walk on eggshells. You know how to make it all about the other person's fucking feelings because you've been doing it your whole goddamn miserable fucking life. You think people's past doesn't own their future? Oh my God. When people say, oh, that's your past, you need to just get over it. It's like, could you say something more profoundly fucking stupid than, oh, just get over it, like it's that simple? That's how fucking dumb you are, that you actually think that that's something you can just walk away from and willpower your way out of. Some of the most extraordinarily powerful people of willpower who have done great things in life knock on my fucking door because they can't figure out at 40, 50, 60, why the fuck they still have this gaping hole inside. Why all the shit they've amassed, all of the titles and money and so forth, still doesn't fill that hole inside. Why they're still miserable. Why their relationships are still blowing up. Why their own fucking kids don't want anything to do with them. It's because of this shit right here. It's because that cup is so fucking full of crud, and they've never wanted to pull it out and empty out that love cup of all the crud that's in there, rather than putting love in, getting the pain out and putting love in. Why they've never wanted to touch it. It's too painful. Single scariest thing in people's lives, I mean, other than, you know, something horrible happening to your child, something like that, single scariest thing in people's lives is going into that cave, going into that vault where they've locked down all their feelings, all their pain from the past, and that shit will drive your fucking life. It will drive your relationships. And I'm telling you, as a dating tip, this is one thing you got to look out for. If they're always half a foot out the door already, always in that state of sort of exiting, oh, hey, I'm out, gotta go. If they're like that, dude, they got shit going on inside them. And they got to work on them. And the truth is, if you're staying in a relationship with somebody like that, you got shit going on inside you that you don't want to touch. Yeah, it's not just all them. Unhealthy people come in twos. As I wrote about in my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. Unhealthy people come in twos. So that means if you got somebody like that, there's shit going on inside of you that you haven't healed yet, that you're even tolerating that, because a healthy person will not get it in a relationship with an unhealthy person, by definition. Or if a person finally gets healthy, they will not stay in a relationship with an unhealthy person, by definition. Being healthy means having people in your life who are healthy as well. So If you got someone who's always halfway out the door, or if you're always the one exiting, it's because you got all that charged shit inside of you that you don't want to fucking touch. And until you do touch it, until you do go into it and get it all out of your love cup, you're gonna blow up relationships, you're gonna undermine relationships, you're gonna try to control people, including your own fucking children. So when you finally have the courage to face up to it, that you got to deal with your own shit, or that you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to own their shit and it's fucking killing you, have a kick-ass day.